What's up, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, saints and friends? We're coming to you with a special edition, a Labor Day special edition. We have in the studio here in Fresno the visionary behind this powerful empire, this media empire called Believe Radio Media Group. We have in our studio the one and the only, who recently just received his doctorate, the Honorable Dr. Adam. Can I see your middle name?
No.
Rogers.
No.
Listen, y'all, welcome we call him the chairman. Welcome the chairman to, if I had a clap track, we would be clapping. But listen, everyone, thank you for tuning in. Share this on your page. It's going to be a very informative and enlightening and cathartic conversation, as no stone is unturned. We're going to talk about just a micropage of everything, right? Because he's been so busy, and we were glad that he stopped through town after being in service last time, ministering, stopped in town. And so we want to just pick his brain and just kind of catch up with him to see what's happening. Adam, welcome. Dr. Adamology, welcome to your affiliate station. How you doing, sir?
It is great to be in one of my homes, Fresno, and seeing that the station is doing well. I am super. As you know, a lot of things have been happening in a great way. Like the overseer has said, I'm Dr. Adam Rogers, now Adamology.
Yeah, we're trying to make sure his head don't get too inflated,
Yes,
so
sir.
we've asked him just to use that sparingly, just so that we. But listen, let's dive into a couple of things, because yes, congratulations are in order for your promotion and elevation academically with the honorary doctorate in sacred music. How long have you been doing music ministry? For those who don't know, who haven't followed you.
Well, I'm a child prodigy. So I started in ministry at 7 years old, playing the organ, piano, drums, saxophone, and teaching the choir.
Mhm.
So I started really, really young. And then from there, I became the district organist at 10. By 11, I was the Kojic jurisdiction, Northern California first jurisdiction, under Judy Johnson. I was a jurisdictional organist at 11. By the time I hit 15, I was touring with gospel recording artist Lawrence Matthews and friends. Then I started playing for Olivet. By the time I hit 16 and a half, I started my own community choir called Crusaders
Wow.
for the gospel chorale. Then when I hit my 20s, God shifted me into the university circle, and I became the MD for Contra Costa Community College and also St. Mary's of California MD. And then God opened up a big door for me, and I became the gospel choir director of UC Berkeley.
You have a memory of an elephant. Now, how are you able to recapitulate all that in how many years of ministry? 30?
35.
35 years. That's exactly how long I've been preaching, 35 years.
35 years.
Um,
And that's just a summary, because in between those things, I would play for Kim Burrell, the late Timothy Wright,
mhm.
and the list goes on, all the artists I played for. And so it's been a long trip.
Well, listen, man, I am just delighted. For some of you who don't know, Adam is the visionary, of course, of this media conglomerate that God has given him, that was birthed during the pandemic. However, he was already working in radio
That's right.
with some previous other stations. And so it was just during that time of pivoting where he heard the voice of God and he pivoted. And as a result, he has now launched a global brand that will be rolling out affiliate stations in the immediate and near future.
Yep.
So yes, kudos to you on that appointment. Well deserved. And trust me, if you've had not had a chance to work with him, he really is the substance. No, seriously. He first started working with me. I can't say for me, because I never really had enough money to pay him, but he was working with me to help my ministry. And then as a result of working to help my ministry, God began to expand me. And as a result, I became an affiliate owner of Believe Radio Fresno, which there's some exciting things coming up, and you
Yep.
want to stay tuned because we're really rolling out some very um, advanced and interactive applications that will really help you have inspiration at your fingertips. Before we go down that road, let's visit so you had the honorary celebratory graduation for your doctorate one weekend, and then you recently just got back from somewhere. Tell us where you went and what happened uh, at that space.
Well, there is a organization called the National Associations of Gospel Radio. This is a entity that is focused for gospel radio. And let me articulate this. If you don't understand how the industry, the music industry works, it has a couple of pillars.
Hmm.
And one of those pillars is radio. Another pillar is labels.
Hmm.
And so these two entities are what creates your music industry.
Okay.
And so for the gospel community, this entity was birthed out of a man named CJ. What's CJ's last name?
Johnson? No,
CJ.
I don't know why I said Johnson.
Yeah, I can't think of his last name right now, but CJ
We love you, CJ, but
out of
brain
Shreveport,
fog.
Louisiana,
Yes.
who is a terrestrial programmer and bringing our genre together. There's other genres already have their associations. Only in the gospel community, we haven't had our own.
Hmm.
And so he birthed this out. And I was one of the guests being from the West Coast.
Hmm.
And I was asked to be on a panel dealing with satellite radio, internet radio, and also streaming. And it was a very aggressive and powerful panel. And
What were some of like give us like two takeaways or two key points that you talked about or discussed?
so there was a session, a piece in my talk where I gave to indie artists that were in the room.
Hmm.
And one of the items I shared, when you deal with playlists on Spotify and Apple Music, those dominating playlists are only for major labels only. And a lot of people don't know that because you think you have an opportunity
Hmm.
to get on certain playlists. I come to let you know, I'm going to tell you the truth. Those are actually reserved for the major labels. And that's because those major labels have actually purchased stock.
So that's powerful information. Because if you're armed with that, you have the right expectation going into it, so you're not feeling jaded because of the experience, right? Because a lot of indie artists feel like they've been mishandled, mistreated, it's not fair, can't break through, but there's a protocol, you're saying.
There's a protocol. So if to get on certain major playlists, you're going to have to be signed to one of the affiliates of Sony, Universal. And what do I mean? So like Sony has Sony Red, Orchard. There's many different of subsidiary labels that are underneath them if you want to get on those type of platforms. But thing is, one thing about internet radio, a lot of people don't know this. If you put the metadata of your song on the track itself, the MP3,
Mm.
and then you give it to a internet radio station, watch me, it becomes a stream.
Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that?
And so you don't need Spotify. You don't need Apple Music
You can organically.
through internet radio
Mhm.
get streams. But once again, you have to have the metadata on the track.
So here are two takeaways that I just heard you say. One is there is a workaround if you're not on a major label.
That's right.
Just make sure that your information is coded right.
Right.
Secondly, though,
But
if you're going to put
just-
something out,
Even what you just said, see, putting the metadata on the track is not registration
right?
of the track. So those are two different categories because some people think, well, I put the metadata on the track, so I'm good. No, you're not. You still need to register with all the entities from a media base, all that stuff. You got to do all that.
Okay. So, and then the second takeaway is as you, if you are an indie artist, when you're crafting and making music, make sure that it is done at the highest level of excellence
Yeah.
so that you can get the attention and interest of a label, or produce it in such a way that it's industry quality or label quality. That way you have a better chance of being heard, picked up, put in rotation and the such, right?
How truthful can I be?
Real truthful.
Okay, there are certain platforms indie artists will never get on unless you go through a label.
Okay.
And so we're gonna I'm be very blunt and very honest. So, and I'll give you an example. Jennifer Hudson and the Sherry Show. Those particular shows are connected to the music industry.
Mm.
So you will see artists and people on those shows that are connected to those labels.
Yeah, I got you.
So if you want to go in that vein and get on Sherry or Jennifer Hudson type show, you're going to have to be signed to a label. They're not going to have indie artists on that platform unless they're doing something special.
Yeah, or like you're a social media
Yeah,
phenomena.
if
Yeah,
you're a social media phenomenon, that is
with millions of
well,
followers.
millions. And so, but thing is, once again, it is a industry, it is a business, and those talk shows are getting funded
Mhm.
by these labels. So if a label wants to put on um, Janet Jackson
Mhm.
because she has a tour coming up,
Mhm.
guess what that show is going to do? Janet Jackson's going to make a special appearance,
Yeah.
and they're going to advertise her new tour. So that is the truth.
Wow. Well, so again, those of you who are aspiring artists and you want to have a blueprint on how to really be successful in not only the game of music, but the ministry of music, you have to make sure that you understand these nuances because they will make or break your faith, your focus, right? And your finances, all right?
And I will be having a manual coming out real soon,
All right, good.
and it's called the pillars of
Mm,
the music industry.
okay.
And so, and I tackle a lot of these items. So get ready for that. I expect around January or February of next year, it'll be ready. So get ready for that. Be able to download that, purchase that in a physical copy, so you can actually know the truth, so you can make the right decisions,
Mhm.
plan your money,
Mhm.
not get upset, and all that type of stuff.
Good. So, all right. So, your doctorate, we mentioned that the conference you just got back from, which was in New Orleans, and as of yesterday,
Oh yeah,
you had a very special day. And what was that?
yesterday was my birthday.
It was his birthday.
It
All
was my
right. So,
birthday.
listen, this man has been moving and shaking, and it's just already started off as a season of celebration. Um, I just want to. Um, take this time to publicly say that I appreciate you, Adam, and I can call him Adam, um, for just having the vision and the fortitude to help people. You know, if
Mhm.
if if there's one thing that I can say that really pushes you and drives you, that is you want to see everybody make it. You've been a well of resource for ministries, for multiple ministries down through the years, for bishops and
Yeah.
past. I mean, you've been a secret confidant. You know, you've been one that people have called you on like they did Nicodemus and Jesus. And so a lot of you don't know that he didn't just get in this, but he's been working in this at some very high and strategic levels. But I want to publicly say thank you for taking a chance on us and believing in us and believing in me and my family and the community and the city of Fresno. When you first brought this to me, I'll be honest, uh, I was a bit,
He
I
didn't want
won't
to do
say
it. He
disinterested.
didn't want to do it.
I probably err on the side of skepticism sometimes, only because my dad always taught us before a man builds anything, he sits down and counts up the cost. So I'm always thinking about, okay, what is this going to require or cost me, right? And so I always kind of dragging my feet, and probably had I listened a lot sooner when
Come
he
on,
did say,
come on.
I probably would be further along.
Come
However,
on.
thank God for grace and mercy. Hallelujah.
But
So,
but then
but I,
I want to tag in on this because we have to hit this as a people. Um, African Americans, we have to start creating Black-owned businesses.
mhm,
Whether it's in the media space, restaurants, bakeries, we have to start creating our own businesses to circulate our finances within our community because that recession is coming,
yeah,
and
that'll preach. That's another part of it that we don't talk about,
it's
but but we have to have not only faith for now, but faith for the future. We have to think ahead and plan for what's coming.
and also when you have media like Believe Radio in a city of Fresno, the Black narrative is shared from us, because a lot of times when you listen to your news, that is a tainted version of the African American in that community. And also, where's the positive stories? Where is the people who came from nothing, now they're a doctorate or got their master's degree? And
Mhm,
what about those singers who put out new music? Where can they go in your community?
mhm,
And so Believe Radio in the city of Fresno is that beacon of light here. And so, we need to create these spaces
mhm,
for us, because as the dominant culture sees, and you see this, they're starting to pull back from Black content. It's
mhm.
like we gave you all an opportunity.
Right,
Now we're sick of y'all.
right. Basically,
And so we have to create these spaces, whether it's restaurants, bakeries, radio stations, TV stations, whatever it is. We need to create it on our own space, because we have to stop depending on the master to take care of us.
yeah.
God has put us in a place to where we can go to Canaan. It's time to come out the wilderness.
So I'll go there. I want to return and cycle back, or circle back, I should say, to that, because I know there's another body of work that you're working on
Mhm.
as it relates to the slavery mentality. So I do want to touch on that, because I think all of this is a continuum and a scarlet thread. Um, but before we dive into that, because that may take us down a road that will last another hour or two, and I do want to bring that back in. But before we do that, tell us what's coming next. What can the viewers and supporters look forward to in Believe Radio Media? What are some of the most immediate things that you are working on as a brand?
So the brand itself, we are working on our new Grammy weekend gospel reception. We had our first one this year, which was phenomenal in the city of Los Angeles during Grammy weekend. We have another one. Our next one will be in February, and we have labels, uh, radio stations, TV stations, magazines, producers, anybody in the industry that's gospel and part of the Grammys will definitely be there. And so that's what the brand next big thing is. Now, each local station does have their own nuanced things that they're doing. So in the city of Oakland, for the holidays,
Hmm.
I plan on doing a holiday musical.
Oh, okay,
And so
nice.
including some of our indie artists into this program and just make it a in-house musical. Because a lot of times people want to make the musical a negative thing,
Right.
but I was birthed out of a musical. I learned my chops in a musical. I learned to meet people at a musical.
You learn the power of hello in the
The
musical.
power, how to say hi to people and
Yeah,
give hugs at the musical. And so I plan on doing something during the holidays for my community in the Bay Area, where we just
nice.
come together and just have a good old just musical, just singing and shouting and walking down the pew and say yeah. Just a simple musical.
I'm watching the show. Y'all forgive me. I'm gonna come into that. But I was eating potato salad and I left the remnants. There was some good potato salad
Y'all
though.
need to pray.
Um, no, it was good though. But listen, um, we want to take a station identification break and talk about one of the shows that's on your local network and station, right?
Yes.
Let's play a clip of a new show that is being launched. Actually, it's being launched on both stations. All right,
Yes.
here you go.
A day is coming, there'll be no war. Peace will take over the land. No more broken heart, abandoned and alone. God will separate the right from wrong. Then we'll be changed in a moment, caught up in the twinkling of an eye.
That show is produced by one of your new cast members, I should say, of Believe Radio Bay Area.
One
Who's
of our
that?
hosts.
One of your hosts.
This is a exciting show. All of the shows actually
Yeah.
are good. So it's not like one is better than the other.
Right. And you do give yourself equally to all of them. I must say that. You're not partial.
I'm not partial at all. This one is Life with Lizzie,
Life with Lizzie.
and
All
she
right.
is somebody special. I haven't seen the she puts in so much work.
Mhm.
Uh,
Don't you appreciate that?
I
Seriously,
mean,
as an owner.
she puts in the work. I mean, she has banners. For her guests, we have a conference room. She turns the conference room into a green room. She has water, cupcakes, cookies. She has a customized t-shirt, mugs for each of her guests.
So she's really operating in the spirit of excellence and
Yes.
hospitality.
And so before you even get to our station, you go into the conference room / green room and you're greeted by her assistant, and you get your mug, and you get your t-shirt, and you get some cupcakes, and you get some water, and then you come into the station, and people are just blown away.
Mhm.
They're just totally blown away. And her show is very, very informative, very inspirational, very intellectual, educational.
Mhm.
And so we are really excited to syndicate Life with Lizzie with the Bay Area location, also in the Fresno location. And I know when you watch this show, you are going to fall in love with this show, Life with Lizzie. I'm telling you, it's something special.
Yeah, we are. We definitely want to welcome Lizzie to the Believe Radio Fresno family, and of course, we also have um, one of our radio hosts, Tiffany Binion Mangum,
Yes.
who has a show as well that will be rolling out very soon. So yes, there's a lot of things happen, a lot of opportunities. If you're listening and you are in our local market and you want to um, branch out and step into a new role of entertainment, and you feel that calling and desire on your life, please reach out to us. Our email address is believeradiofresno@gmail.com, believeradiofresno@gmail.com. And I will roll that through. Adam, tell us some of the other things that are happening and that you're looking forward to.
When it comes to the brand, we have developed a tea very special. And so we came from the Stella Awards. And from the Stella Awards, we had the opportunity to partner with a entity called the Urban Soul Cafe Honors as one of the elite events of the Stella Awards. And we were the video crew
Mm.
for that event, and we taped it. I'm doing editing currently, and that will be aired on TV. Everybody say
All right.
TV.
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 And so you'll be seeing Believe Radio stuff on TV nationwide.
Hold on, let's just take a pause and praise and thank God for his goodness and allowing us to branch
I'm
out.
Pentecostal. We right here.
Okay. I feel a solemn assembly right now just to give God praise. I feel stoic. I feel stoic right now. Stoic. No, listen, that's one of the things, again, that has made Adam such a visionary, is that he has not been locked in or bound by just one lane or one genre or one platform. From the get-go, he was like, this is what God showed me. This is what I see. This is what we're going to do. And I've been watching things just unfold, and it's exciting. I think the video piece
Mm-hmm.
and the multimedia piece is just a very powerful opportunity for us to really express what Believe Radio Media Group is doing on a global level. I mean, I'm telling you, you guys stay tuned because it is first rate, and you're going to really, really like the content that is put out and then the way in which it is done.
I want to say this because some people don't understand what we're doing, and I want to articulate it like this. There are entities that are Black targeted.
Mm-hmm.
And what does that mean? They're not owned by Black people. They're owned by the other people,
Mm-hmm.
but they specifically target us.
Right, because
So
of our spending
for
power.
our spending money. They want us to buy their products, watch their advertising, and when they make money off of us, They don't put any money into our community.
Mhm,
Don't come to our churches.
mhm,
Don't support our kids in our schools.
mhm,
So it's very crucial to have a Black-owned media company,
mhm,
and we advertise, and that money comes to our community.
mhm,
It goes to our churches.
mhm.
It goes to our schools in our community.
So, that's a good segue into me circling back to what we talked about earlier about the slavery mindset. Because for those who are going to watch this, I don't want you to pick out sound bites to paint this picture like we are just solely pro-black and we're dismissive of everybody else. That's not this. We are not segregating ourselves. There really is a very well thought out approach to this power of preservation. And I'm talking about that because I think this is again part of the vision. So because again, it is important in this culturally sensitive age how things are represented so that people don't brand you or label you as being racist or segregationist. So kind of talk about that slavery mindset and why God birthed this move through you.
There is a movement that is not even passive. There's an aggressive movement to erase the Black face, the Black identity,
The Black
the
voice.
Black voice, especially Black men.
Hmm.
And so, and that system is not going to hire us. That system is not going to support our ideas. Even with social media, and those of you on it, you're noticing a more aggressive blocking you,
Hmm.
putting you in Facebook jail, locking your account, because now that our culture has helped build
Hmm.
these brands, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is,
Hmm.
now they're like, we don't need you anymore.
Hmm.
And so where do we go? Or do we stay on these platforms? We go back to the slave mindset. Do we stay with massa so we can have a roof over our heads? Or do we get out and cut the trees and build our own house? And so I'm of that persuasion. It's time to cut the trees and build our own house,
Hmm.
because massa is showing us
Yeah.
that they're not going to give us any more finances. They're not going to support our schools.
Yeah.
They're not going. So we have to cut the trees and help build our schools back up. And
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that.
And there's nothing. Come on,
There's nothing
come on.
wrong with that.
Listen, come on. Say that. Let me ask you this: is it because of your background in Jewish studies that you have this empowerment mentality? Is it what you have been exposed to that gave you this insight to think, hey, if they have it, I can have it too? Where did that come from?
It's multi-dimensional. One, my grandfather was an entrepreneur.
Okay.
So he had a shop in Oakland on East 14th, it was called then. Well, now it's International. Number two, for a moment of time in my life, I was a music director at an AME church.
Hmm.
First AME, Oakland, Fame Oakland, also Brookings AME in Oakland. And listening to the preaching of that organization will empower anybody, because from an AME perspective, they put Black people in the Bible.
Got you. Yeah.
And so
They made it prominent.
it made it prominent, and then from there created a narrative that God wants you to be educated.
Hmm.
God wants you to have a roof over your head. You don't have to struggle. You don't have to give a $20 seed and cross your fingers and hope God's going to pay your PG&E bill.
Right.
God can give you a job.
The power to get wealth.
The power.
Yeah.
God can give you a job to where all your bills can be paid.
Yeah.
And so that piece came from the AME church. And then the last piece, I was in undergrad and I did become a Jewish studies major. And so with that, I learned the Jewish mindset.
Hmm.
And a Jewish mindset, in a summation, is going from Egypt to the wilderness to Canaan. Each place has a mindset.
Hmm.
And when you're going into Canaan, you have to have the mindset is you have to build it. Nobody's going to give you anything because you're in a whole new land, a whole new system. And so only thing you have is ground, dirt, water, some trees. So now cut the trees down,
Take the resources.
take the
Yeah.
resources and build it. Now in Egypt, the resources was there.
Hmm.
And so you didn't
That's
have
that
to,
codependency.
yeah, it's called codependent
Yeah.
on the government.
Yeah. Right.
And so, but the thing is, the government keeps you down.
Yeah. You only could go so
You
high.
only go so high, then the government's gonna push you down. That's
Right.
Egypt.
That's Egypt.
And then the wilderness is that you're transitioning out of that government,
Which is most uncomfortable.
is most uncomfortable. And so, but thing is, you don't have the build mindset. You're still sort of stuck where, you know what, I sort of like going back to Egypt
Yeah.
and getting the hookup.
Right.
And getting the you know, all that type of stuff over there in Egypt.
Well, the discounts,
the discount
and the rebates,
and
yeah.
But then some people think is, once again, you're still on, you only hit a ceiling, and you won't be able to really flourish and watch this and pass generational wealth.
This is good, y'all.
You're not going to be able to do it.
Mhm.
You will always live paycheck to paycheck.
Mhm.
You won't have a savings. You may have a piece of property, but most likely
You won't have the money to fix it up.
you won't have money to fix it up. You
Mhm.
won't have a comfortable lifestyle. So that the generational wealth, the comfortable
Can
lifestyle,
only come where?
only come when you hit the land of Canaan.
Jesus. Help us.
It can
help us.
only come. But thing is, one thing we don't want to do is do the work. Because once again, in Canaan, you get resources. Nothing is built for you.
But you know, Adam, here's the truth that we don't know, that many don't know, I should say, but many don't know about our history. Even after the Civil War, there was a period called Reconstruction.
Mhm.
And this is why it's so important for our African American young people to read their history, because there was a brief moment where we came out of Canaan, even though we were brutalized and beaten and all that in slavery, we still emerged. And this is what blew the master's mind away, how we emerged with this fight and tenacity to make something of ourselves, right? And it was in that span of time where people had the mind to build their own communities and towns that eventually were flooded over, you know, Tulsa, Oklahoma, the Black Wall Street. I mean, these are examples that are not often talked about or discussed, but in our present history, these are things
Yeah.
that happened to show us that even though you've been enslaved, doesn't mean you have to stay enslaved. That you can come through and progress through and matriculate through that next stage and phase of confusion and transition to ultimately comfort in Canaan. So I think that's a very powerful and practical approach, Dr. Adam, that God has given you, and it's something that we should discuss and talk more as we're moving forward.
There's something that you just articulated that I have to say, going from the wilderness to Canaan. Watch this. You have to process your trauma,
Mhm.
because going back to what you just said, when you have the police officers beating you, is in the systemic racism, you know, tearing up your town, burning your town,
Mhm.
you know, that creates trauma.
Mhm.
And so, but the thing is, that doesn't mean that there is not a wealthy place for you.
Come on, say that.
There's still a Canaan for you.
Even though even though you've been traumatized, don't let the trauma define you.
And that's
Do
why
the work.
I think in this era, God is trying to help us indirectly. And
Mhm.
what do you mean? There is this big thing about mental health now.
Yeah.
And it's mental health in the African American community, because God sees that we need some help.
Yeah.
And so we can't shout it out. We can't high five your neighbor out. You have to have some counseling, talk some things out, have a plan, and focus on the plan, because there is a Canaan for you, but you can't get to this Canaan without the right mindset.
You know, everything that you said is so rich. The takeaway, though, it was just that last statement. In spite of your failures, disappointment,
There's still
there's still
a Canaan.
there's still a Canaan for you. In spite of your mistakes, that'll preach. That'll preach. That will preach. There is, and here's what's powerful. In spite of your self-sabotage,
It's still a Canaan.
there's still a Canaan for you.
And it's
Oh
a
boy, do I
promise.
know that well.
It's-
Self-sabotaging.
It's a promise.
Yeah.
And thing is, because those of us, you know, we in the church and everything, we know about the promises of God and all that stuff, but we don't believe it.
Yeah.
because if you believe it, your works will match your faith.
Right. We don't believe it because we get stuck in our dysfunction and mistakes, right? And I'm because I can talk about this. This is good because that's so right on point. It's not a failure in God doing what he said. It's our failure to believe he can do it through us.
One person I like to watch all the time, I get inspiration from, is Tyler Perry.
Mhm.
Tyler Perry lived in his car.
Yeah.
His play flopped over like 7 times, and he kept on going because he knew there was a Canaan for him.
Yeah.
Now he has the largest sound
Soundstage and production
in
center
the United States of America.
Yeah. Right. Bigger than the other networks.
Bigger, and they're using his stages for their movies. He's one of the owners of BET Plus, the streaming platform.
Yeah.
He also has TV shows on other networks. He has movies with Lionsgate, and so there is, regardless of him flopping back then,
he realized there still was
still
a Canaan. Listen, y'all, listen, if y'all want to give your offerings, send them to, there's still, I mean, but really though, that's what you're saying is so powerful. It's like, it's just, I'm excited, y'all. Can't y'all tell? There's still a Canaan. Do you realize I just went through something this past week, Adam, where I was just beating myself up because of bad choices in my past, right? You know, just stuff like I wish I would have managed that moment different, you know, that kind of stuff, right? Just normal things. And the thought came to me, do you trust yourself to make different decisions? Not did I trust God, or do I trust God? Do I trust myself to follow through? And because I had to have that cathartic moment of realizing there's still a Canaan for you. As long as you're living and breathing, there's still a Canaan for you. I don't care what your proclivities, battles, addictions, hurdles, issues, challenges are. God knew what he was doing through you, in you, and for you when he called you. And there's still, now you're going to have to take serious now the commitment you have to make, and you're going to have to have some discipline and some follow through. But as long as you're willing to commit, you'll reap the blessing of Canaan.
The thing is, and I'm seeing this because I started so young in music at 7 years old, and now I'm in my 40s. So I'm seeing people die in the wilderness because of this mindset due to the trauma, and they made bad choices. And watch this, and they won't listen to wisdom.
Yeah.
You know, wisdom, getting understanding. And it's like, we got to stop being so emotion based and really start listening to wisdom and knowledge. For instance, you want to create a pizza shop. And so you should know what community needs a pizza shop. You don't put a pizza.
You're saying do your research?
Do your research. Get the knowledge. And once you get the knowledge, then you can make the right decisions at the right time, the right place, which is wisdom. And so, you know, should you put a pizza shop next to a high school, or should you put it next to a mall? So do the research, and from the data that you receive, make the right decision. Now you're using wisdom. And so I said, well, I feel like I'm going to open a pizza shop and I'm going to do it on by the freeway.
That coincides with the statement the Holy Spirit gave me yesterday when I was ministering. And the Lord said to me, he said, wisdom brings wealth.
Yeah.
Wisdom
brings
wealth. Knowing what to do, how to do, when to do it will help you manage the resources that God allows to come into your hands. And so it's not some just wishful thinking. It's not just some ethereal thing in our subconscious. It will only materialize and manifest for you if you have the wisdom to employ it.
Wisdom has degrees and levels, and this is a whole different level of discussion because me and wisdom are best friends. And so wisdom has degrees and levels into it. So one of the degrees when you really get into wisdom is discipline, because sometimes you have to do delayed gratification.
Right.
I want to buy this BMW, but when you have wisdom will say, discipline yourself, get you a Honda Accord and wait 3 years.
But wisdom, listen, but wisdom always tells you always tells you that there's a why.
Right.
It's not just telling you hold back indefinitely. It's like hold back because there's a strategy in play. Yeah,
Because
there's a move you got to make. Yeah.
when I first graduated from San Francisco State with my bachelor's, I wanted to get a BMW X5, was the SUV. My dad, who was older, had wisdom. He said, "No, you should not get a BMW." I'm like, "But I'm grown and I want a BMW because I done made it."
Mhm.
He said, "No, right now, especially as you're doing all this music stuff, you need something where the maintenance is going to be low, the gas is going to be low because the gas prices are going up." And so he said, "You need to get something like a Nissan something." And I was like, I did not fight him. Okay, we got to stop fighting wisdom.
Mhm.
You got to stop fighting knowledge. Stop
Mhm.
fighting it. I listened to what my dad said, so I started looking. I found out this car called the Nissan Murano.
Mhm.
It was stylish. It had leather seats. It had
Mhm.
heated seats. It was good on gas. It was good on maintenance. I went to the store and brought my dad with me. Watch this. I didn't even look in the car. I told my dad, I told Wisdom to look at it. My dad, he looked at the trunk, he popped the hood open and said, "This is your car." And the salesman was like, "Okay." Yeah, I said, "I'm buying the car." He said, "You want to drive it?" I said, "No." I said, "Wisdom then told me what to do."
Mhm.
And so I'm going to do what wisdom tells me to do. That was one of the best cars ever.
Yeah.
Best cars. It helped me as I was going through some transitions financially. It helped me with maintenance. It helped me with gas. I could fill my tank up with $40.
Wow. Uh, I, I got a sedan and $40 don't even fill up my tank. Brothers and sisters, I hope that you have enjoyed this conversation. It's very rare that we're able to have Adam in the studio, and because he's always behind the scenes making things happen for everybody else, we thought it'd be fitting to kind of put the spotlight on him, and just so that you would have the opportunity of knowing what's in his head, what's in his heart, what God is doing. There are other stations
Yes.
that are rolling out that we're bringing online and launching, like I said, in the very immediate future. And we're thankful to the Lord that He is expanding the brand, and that He is blessed the partnership. And to all of you who are aspiring to get into business and to do things, take that leap of faith. Do your research, and after you do the research, and after you gain as much information and knowledge that is necessary, have the faith to step out and trust God. I remember in talking to Adam when this started, because I was around from the beginning of this. And I remember, again, he did his research and everything. And then when the moment came,
Listen.
because you can't, wisdom will also tell you when to strike. When the moment came, he was able to step out in faith, and as a result, it has garnered him national acclaim. And so we thank God.
Don't miss your moment.
Don't miss your moment. Well, thank you again, Adam, for stopping by the station, taking time out of your busy schedule. Again, we pray that God's choices and richest blessings will continue to manifest in your life and in Believe Radio Media Group. Any final words that you want to share with your audience?
I will close with this. Family, start a business even though you have a job. It's okay to have a job and a side business.
Mhm.
Number two, listen to wisdom, get knowledge, use the internet, research things, research materials, do price checks. It's okay. Get wisdom, get knowledge. And three, there is a Canaan for you. No matter what you experience, the trauma you've been through, the setbacks, there is still a wealthy place for you. And so it's just sitting there, and don't die and not get to your
Yeah.
Canaan. Don't die and your kids don't get that wealth transfer.
My
Don't
God.
die
My God.
and you never get the opportunity to go to college. Don't die and your kids don't see you ever, as I say,
Mhm.
blow up.
Mhm.
Don't die and don't reach your Canaan.
The only thing I will add to that's powerful, is accept the fact that there's wealth in you. You know, believe that first, because if you don't believe that God has called you to a wealthy place and a wealthy place to you, if you don't believe that innately He has put his presence within you, and he's given you the wherewithal and the fortitude and the genetic makeup and the DNA, all of the molecules in your body have already been called and destined to come into a wealthy place. You just need to renew your mind and accept what God has already purposed for your life and walk in it. All right. Thank you all. Have a phenomenal rest of your day, wherever you are in the world. We love you. God bless you. God keep you. Stay locked in to Believe Radio.
Yeah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.